Well, this week we're going to highlight the USDA Agricultural Outlook Forum, which will take place on Thursday and Friday. We're also going to talk about a record pace of U.S. corn export sales, and that's placing an increased emphasis on the planting progress of corn in Brazil. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the corn market. We came back from a 3-day holiday weekend and certainly saw a lot of price volatility on Tuesday. But before we go any further, we're going to talk about a USDA event taking place this week. Moving on now, we're looking at the USDA Agricultural Outlook Forum will be held on Thursday and Friday of this week. Why is that important? This will be an updated estimate from the USDA of acreage for 2021. Now, this is not a survey-based acreage estimate, but it is an acreage estimate that the trade will be looking closely at, as well as the remainder of the 2021-2022 balance sheet. Let's move on now and highlight the export pace of corn. What we're going to look at here is the actual unshipped sales of corn as of early February. And what we're doing here is looking at the red line and looking at the unshipped sales of corn here at a record level, primarily driven by China. China alone is up over 442 million bushels more than a year ago. So it's been a big driver in this corn market. Very little carry in the market, very strong historical basis levels. A lot moving on here as we approach the second half of the crop year in March all the way through August. We're going to zero in now on that corn export sales pace a bit closer. Now we're looking at the total amount of sales. This includes the amount that's already been shipped as well as that level we just looked at, the unshipped sales. If we look at this year here, 2021, it's a record level of 2.266 billion bushels. Now moving on, why is that important? Because for the annual estimate, the USDA is only at 2.6 billion bushels. So in other words, we're looking at 87% of the sales for the entire year have already been made, and we're not even at the midpoint of the crop year. Here's the key message. It places tremendous emphasis now on the Brazilian second season corn production, which we're going to take a look at right now. We're going to start out looking at where that second season corn production is grown in Brazil. Now you can see here, these are the corn acres that are planted after the completion of the soybean harvest. Mato Grosso is the #1 state at 31%, Paraná at 21%, followed by Mato Grosso do Sul and Goiás. You add all those together, it's nearly 80% of the second season corn production in Brazil. Here's the key point about second season corn production in Brazil as we move on. Look at this chart here, courtesy of T-Storm Weather. The rainy season is at its peak right now in February, but notice that blue line, how quickly it drops off. Moving on now, for example, in May and June, there's virtually no rain in Mato Grosso. So here's the key message. The later the corn is planted in Brazil, the more vulnerable it'll be to dry weather during pollination. Let's move on now and look at our short-term weather forecast for Brazil. Our slides, as usual, are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. Now we're looking here at a very wet forecast for the next 10 to 14 days over that northern area of Mato Grosso. So it's going to be a struggle to get those soybeans harvested and that corn planted. That was one of the factors driving the corn market higher earlier this week. Now we're looking at, moving on now, we're looking at planting progress well behind normal. 21% you can see in Mato Grosso versus 47% on average. Even further behind in Paraná, 3% versus 30% average. So really looking at a struggle getting that corn planted. Now here's the key message. Even though it's a slow start, the domestic corn prices in Brazil are at record levels. So those farmers have a lot of incentive to get that corn planted, even though it's going to be a little bit later than they desire. Our final weather slide here is looking at quantifying weather over the next 2 weeks. You can see as we move further north, it gets wetter. It'll be very important to see how wet it does and how wet it gets and how delayed that soybean harvest is. Let's wrap up briefly looking at December corn futures. We'll continue to emphasize this because we are nearing the end of the corn crop insurance period here in February. We are looking at the highest corn prices for December corn futures in 7 years. So we really continue to encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage this price movement. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with our risk management consultants. We'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an upload. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.